Okay? But we have to understand this within education, within a historical context. And what this means is, before World War II, we had something called audiovisual aids. And audiovisual aids, the teacher was in control. In the same way of teaching art history, etc., the instructor was in control of how they used the materials. After World War II, a field emerged called instructional technology. And that began to remove the teacher from the center and put the system more in charge. So out of that, we had B.F. Skinner's teaching machine. We have programmed learning kits. We have programmed instruction. We have a merging of system engineering, a psychology of learning, which was neo-behaviorism. We have developments in media technology that begin to allow this to happen, like in the 1980s with computers. We saw computer-based instruction, computer-delivered instruction, etc., eventually leading up to integrated learning systems to where we could, my field of educational technology, can begin to deliver art history courses without ever having an art teacher. The teacher becomes the system, and if it's an intelligent system, it's the collective knowledge of a lot of art historians, okay? And blending with the needs of education. One of the things that was not talked about yet today was this whole idea of education. Who does it serve? Does it serve society? Does it serve the student? Does it serve the art community? Like, who is it that's being served by the idea of schooling, okay? Historically, mass education emerged to meet the needs of business. And we hear that now anyway, where people are learning practical skills in order to get jobs, okay, which is different from what we're talking about with art and art education. But education always served the needs of business and the needs of the learner to get a job. Okay, well, I just kind of said this. Okay, so again, pre-1940s, we have teacher-centered control. After the 1940s, becomes system control. And we have this kind of argumentation, this conflict between teachers wanting to maintain control and the system wanting to take control, and those that maintain the system. Thus, in the United States, we have end-of-year testing. We have No Child Left Behind. And I'm talking about K-12, elementary and secondary schooling, and it's starting to move more and more into higher education to where they become the standardized courses, okay? And these are two of the pointers, again. You have the iPad, which not only begins to talk about e-books and textbooks, but also the idea of delivering the curriculum. In Japan, they're removing paper textbooks from the schools and only going to have digital books, right? They're making that step. Again, there is no need for the large classroom, teacher-centered, etc. When you walk through the university and you look in classrooms, you could begin to look at what the students are doing. Like just looking out here, I see about 4 people checking their email, okay? Some people kind of doing something else, some looking at the screen. But, you know, by changing how we think about learners, how we think about design of instruction, or design of learning environments, we engage learners in a completely different way. Oops. Okay, so the changes that are coming about because of the possibilities offered to us by technology, okay, is they become learner-centered over teacher-centered. They become process and experience-based over just being passively based. You develop learning communities. We've heard that term a couple times today. You talk about learning environments, not instructional environments, but learning environments. And there's a remarkable difference between the two. We have a shift in time and space to where students could be anywhere, especially with mobile technologies. They could be anywhere at any time dealing with their coursework, with their studies, whatever it is they're doing. And how we begin to locate meaning. Before, the meaning was located within the textbook, within the instructor. And your job as students was to feed back what they wanted, which was basically on the test. Because how else do we evaluate our students?